Okay, folks, today we're looking at our covered call ETFs, our high yield ETFs like QQQI and BTCI, and we want to understand how many years it will take in terms of income generation to pay back our book cost, our initial cost on these investments. Okay, so we're going to do like a very quick Google Sheets to show you how many years it's going to take to cover that initial cost. And I think it's kind of eye-opening. All right, guys, first and foremost, I want to shout out our new Patreon members. Welcome to the community, guys. If you guys want financial coaching, if you want financial calculators and a ton more content I'm gonna be posting here, please feel free to jump into the community. The elite tier will get you one-on-one coaching. The entry tier is gonna get you access to the calculators and a bunch more. So please feel free to jump on board. We'd love to have you as part of the community. Okay, guys, as I said today we're gonna look at a brief example of what our ETFs, our covered call ETFs that are high income, high yield, QQQI, as well as what BTCI will do in terms of how many years it will take to match our book cost. Well, what is our book cost? That is the initial cost that it costs us to purchase this asset. And in this case, it's around 500K, okay? And we know that we have around 14% yield on this, dividend yield. And that will generate us 70K, okay? And so with that, we do some quick math, 1, 2, 3, and we get an easy 7 to 7.4 years it will take for us to match 500K. So effectively in 7 years, assuming zero appreciation of this asset, within 7 years, you are going to match your initial investment. That is a pretty cool concept to me. This is kind of just another way to look at things, kind of like, how can I meet and match my initial investment? Like, I think it's cool to look at. And the fact that it's going to be done in only 7 years is quite attractive. If you look at things like real estate, if you look at other assets, it takes a lot longer to achieve, the match rate than I think this would. And this isn't even including the benefit that you'll get with dollar cost averaging in, with dripping in, with the small appreciation that you get with QQQI. So this is just looking at pretty much the almost guaranteed income when it comes to the dividend yield. Things get even more attractive when looking at BTCI. Of course, I'm invested in both of these. And with BTCI, if we had invested as well 500K here, the annual yield is around 26%. So the annual income is going to be 130K. So we're going to only need 3 to 4 years to match the initial book cost of 500K when it comes to BTCI. So that is even better on surface value on first glance. Now, of course, you have to be bought into the concept of BTCI. You have to be invested and risk tolerant into Bitcoin in and of itself and the underlying asset being Bitcoin. So that's something you have to be tolerant of and accepting of to invest in this. So I would say QQQI is a little more conservative. And yes, it will take longer to achieve that match of book cost, but you're doing it in a little more conservative fashion with a little more conservative assets, whereas your Bitcoin a little more higher risk, but I think it's still a very attractive concept. Now, taking this over to our portfolio, okay, you can see that we have in this portfolio, in this example, 1.1 million. We have a portfolio yield of about 20%. Okay, so it's very high portfolio yield and an annual income of 216K. So quite a strong annual income and portfolio yield here. You can see that in this case at this given moment, BTCI is actually in a capital loss, but that is okay because our income is so strong here. The capital loss is negative 10K so far, and the annual income is 117K. So very comfortable with that position. With QQQI, you're still in a capital gain, whereas we're still seeing that 100K annual income. So both very healthy positions. So looking at how long would it take us to achieve this? How long would it take us to match the book cost here? Well, assuming the book cost is right around 1.1 million, it's going to take us with this annual income around 5 years. Around 5 years to match our initial investment. And that's a healthy position to be in. It's just another way to look at things, right? We can look at it in a lot of different ways, and with just the income per year, we can look at it in terms of like total return per year, which is, really, really strong. But another way to look at things is like, how long will it take to match my initial investment? So that's kind of what we did today. I hope it was helpful in another kind of way to change your perspective on how to look at what income can do to help understand your investment better, and also like give you reassurance that this like income is coming in and is very, it's decently stable. It's decently stable. It's been so for quite some time. These are newer investments, but if you look at like a JEP-Q, look at a JEP-E, the income has been fairly stable. So rest assured, and this is not financial advice, but these income, projections are fairly accurate, and they can be utilized for our projections. So I think it's an interesting insight and an interesting analysis, and I'd love to get your perspective. Okay, guys, what do you think about this perspective? Do you look at things this way? Let me know in the comments below. Outside of that, guys, please sub to the channel if you can, and leave a comment below, all the things. Outside of that, guys, all the best. See you tomorrow, and cheers.